Because I want to answer this question that Aisha posted a little while ago. Her question is, I went to the store this morning to pick up an item. I rarely carry cash, and when I took out my card, the cashier informed me that I had to spend $10 to use my card. The item was $1.08. It then occurred to me that by never carrying cash, could I be blocking the flow of money into my life? My rationale has been that I don't carry cash because I'm usually always alone. Is that a lack mindset as well? This is a really good question. You see, the answer is simpler than you think, Aisha. You have a fear of carrying cash because you said, I'm usually alone. Meaning, somebody could overpower me and take my money away. It's dangerous to carry cash. When you do that, where's your vibration? It's right here in the gutter. You're on a vibration of fear. And the vibration of fear is the opposite of the vibration of abundance, because the vibration of abundance is up here in the vortex. And so, yes, fear and abundance are two different vibrations. But you have to overcome the fear before you can start acting differently. The worst thing you can do is to say, oh, I should start carrying cash, because that will not solve the problem. Every single time you carry cash, you're not still here, you're still here because you will be afraid of carrying cash and you'll still be carrying it, which makes it even worse. That's doubly worse. So in this kind of a situation, this is where, when I say that sometimes we do have to go backwards and we have to work on our beliefs and let them go. You've got to work on this belief, the belief that carrying cash puts me at risk. Feeling unsafe when you carry cash. And I tell you, I had that fear as well from my college days. And that fear actually manifested into a couple of things for me. The way I dealt with that fear is that, well, if somebody, attacks me, they're going to attack me anyway, whether I have cash on me or not. And so, safety is not linked to whether or not you carry cash. You see? There's no link. And when you cut the cord of that link, now you will not feel afraid. So it needs to be talked through. Why are you afraid? You've collected evidence to be fearful. And I always carry cash, but it's a very small amount. And the reason I started carrying cash was because Abraham has a game where you carry $100 with you all the time and you spend it over and over again. In fact, we'll be playing that game in this challenge. But I always have $100 to $150 of cash on me. And I feel good about having the cash on me. It feels good to have cash. To me, it gives me confidence that I have cash. It's just how you think about it. And then I've collected evidence now that has proven me to be right. So I always have cash in the house, very little cash on me, but I always have a little bit of cash in the house. And way back when there was a big storm and all the bank machines crashed and we didn't have internet or whatever, so you couldn't pay by tap, you couldn't do online transactions, but I had cash. Yes. And that was the weekend of Rib Fest here in Oshawa. And I had enough cash to go to Rib Fest and bring food home for the kids. So I gave myself a pat on the back and I reinforced that having cash was a good thing. And that's the thing. You have reinforced that having cash is a bad thing. And so that's why you don't carry cash. I've done the opposite. I've reinforced that carrying cash is a good thing. You can find evidence for whatever you want. It's a choice. So if this was a belief you wanted to change, then you have to get rid of the fear that you currently have. And you get rid of the fear by looking at all the positives of having cash on you. Look at all the positives of having cash on you. Even when I just carry this with nothing, this is my wallet and it is my cell phone, I will usually have a $20 bill here behind the credit card. $10 or $20. So it's not about carrying big cash. And sometimes I don't have any cash at all. But the thing is, then I don't need cash. And I believe that when I need it, it will show up. And there have been times when I've needed cash and I found it in my car, or I found it at the bottom of my bag, handbag, or somewhere in a cup in the car or something. So it's about changing the belief that I always need to be ready for all sorts of things that might happen. I used to be like that. If you had seen my handbag when my kids were younger, like 20 years ago, if you had seen my handbag, it was heavy and it had everything in it. And I really do mean everything. Because I was always working on the assumption that I needed a plan B. What if I don't have this and I need it? Then I must have it. And I changed that mentality to thinking when I need it, it'll show up. And so, like with respect to cash, with respect to everything, when I need it, it will show up. I don't always need to have a plan for it. And that is a much nicer, lighter philosophy to work with. And now, even though there are times when I spend the cash that's in my house and I spend the cash that I'm carrying with me, and I don't replenish it until the thought comes, oh, Zara, you should put some money away. And I always act on the thought that comes because that thought that comes is guidance. It's guidance telling me. And if that guidance comes, I will absolutely act on it. So, Aisha, what I want to say to you is the thought came to you that you're blocking your abundance because of this fear that you have of carrying cash. Where do you think that thought came from? I'm so excited because I know that thought came because of guidance, because participating in the challenge raised your vibration. Participating in the 21-day abundance challenge raised your vibration to a level where you're hearing more of your guidance. And to me, that's a huge celebration. That's awesome. So in summary, what I want to say to you is, you don't need to be prepared for everything. Because if you think that you need to be prepared for everything, then by law of attraction, those things, events will keep showing up in your life because you'll be calling them to you. Do you remember the story of Esther that Abraham used to tell long ago? Was that she always had a wire hanger in her car because she knew how to pop the lock in a car when people used to lock their keys inside their cars. Now cars are intelligent, they won't let you do that. However, Esther always used to meet people who needed their car locks to be jacked because the keys were locked inside. It was because she had prepared for that. And that's why the universe was bringing her matching events. So you don't need a plan B. You don't need to be prepared for every possible thing that could happen, because the main belief that we need to get to is the belief that when I need it, it will come. And sometimes it will come through someone else, like a figure like $1.08. If I was in the store with you, I would have said, "Ah, don't worry about it. Let me get that for you." Somebody will show up to help you. And people show up with help for much bigger amounts than this. I used to be, at one point in time in my life, I didn't have money for groceries. And now when I'm in the grocery store and if I have money and I see someone who is not able to pay for their groceries, I help pay for their groceries. So someone will always show up to help you. The universe makes it possible. It's not the person who is doing it, it's the universe who is responding the desire of the person who needs help in that moment. You are always looked after. All your needs are always answered, and the universe is always looking out for you. When you operate under that belief, then you don't need to be prepared for any possibility because it's all looked after. But you do need to remove all fears from your life. Why would anyone attack you or mug you for your cash? If you are high on the emotional scale, that's never going to happen. It's only going to happen if you live in fear of it happening. And if you live in that fear, you will see other people who have that happen to them because that's where your attention is. Your intention, however, is the opposite of it. Your intention is for safety and well-being. Your attention is in the opposite of safety or well-being. The universe will always give you the equivalent of your attention and ignore your intention. Remember that, and then you'll be able to make the right decision for yourself every single time. There is no benefit in living in fear of anything or any sort of fear. What we want to do is we want to go up the emotional scale and stay here, because here, whatever we want shows up for us. All right, sweetheart, this was really, really good. Thank you for this question. Bye for now.